Good afternoon. I'm David Eckert, pastor at Drexel Hill United Methodist Church in Upper Darby Township in Delaware County, and a board member of the First Suburbs Project. Upper Darby is a first-class township with 83,000 people, give or take, which would make it the fifth largest municipality in the state. Often thought of as a suburb since we're right against West Philadelphia, but we would be the fifth largest, we are the fifth largest municipality in the state. I could repeat a lot of what's said here. We are a poster child for that for that first ring suburb. But I want to tell you a little bit about the history just of our church. Our church was founded in 1923 as a merger of two churches. One was a little chapel to a mill community on the Darby Creek that had been there for a few decades as mill workers served on that creek, and a much larger, more affluent group that came out of Philadelphia off of South Broad Street. So the church in Drexel Hill until 1968 was called Broad Street Memorial Methodist Episcopal Church. It was a merger of those who were coming out of this central city and merging with the little mill village on the creek. That church, post-war, grew as the suburb grew to the point where it had, at one point, the most membership of any Methodist church east of the Mississippi River. I was told that. It was a church where they built a wonderful new footprint to be a new sanctuary, and before they had it finished in the early 50s, it was too small, so they made that to a gymnasium and built a bigger sanctuary. I'm not sure how many that sanctuary holds because I've never seen it full, but I'll tell you, when we meet with 100, 120, 150 people, it feels empty. Now, I don't have enough time to go into the decline of the church and the many factors that have gone into that, but often overlooked in the church growth and the church development is the impact of the growth of the decline of these communities. When I look at my community now, I see people who have moved out of Drexel Hill, out of Upper Darby, into the further suburbs because the taxes are so high, because they perceive the school as what they call an urban school district, which is often a code word. We have the same problems as many of these cities have. We have a high concentration of low-income housing and segregation. We have struggling schools. We have older infrastructure. We have a high tax burden. I talk to young families in our church who grew up in our church, and I say, well, don't you want to buy a house in Drexel Hill? They look at me like I'm crazy. Why would I buy a house in the community where I grew up if I could get a house for the same amount of money, a bigger house, pay fewer taxes, have more green space, et cetera, et cetera? We're still a wonderful community. We still have a wonderful civic life. We're still a trolley line community linking to the city. We still have a wonderful core. But day after day, I see that undercut by the problems we're facing. We're a generous church. Like many churches, we like to do things. We collect blankets at the beginning of the winter time and coats to give to people who don't have enough coats and blankets. We collect toiletries to give to those who might get food stamps or such things but might not have anything to buy toiletries. We like to give to these kind of things. But we find more and more that we're facing the needs within our own congregation. We're facing the needs within our own community. People are coming to us and saying, these problems are Drexel Hill problems. These problems are our own people. And so the congregation, as I brought the idea of the first suburbs, they said, yeah, we need to know what's going on in this community. We need to stop blaming the new residents. We need to stop blaming those who are renting in our community, and we need to take a look at solutions. So we became, as a church, a dues-paying member of the First Suburbs to look at the causes of what's going on in our community. So we can not just address the symptoms of what's going on, but the real causes of what's going on to our community. Thank you.